YouTube channel. Our invocation tonight will be led by Councilman Kyle Newton and respect to the flags by Councilman Luis Martinez. Please rise.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion and allow us to grow closer as a group and nurture the bonds of this community. Fill us with your grace as we make decisions that affect the city of Anderson, and continue to remind us that all we do here today and all that we accomplish is for the pursuit of truth, for the greater glory of you, and for the service of humanity. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We do have one item before we get into the body of our main meeting. And we have a special presentation tonight by the Cancer Association of Anderson. And I believe Angie is going to come up and lead us with that. Angie, maybe go to that podium right there for us. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for allowing us to come. I have two of my wonderful board members with me, our chairman, Marlene McLean, and Susan Price, who's on the board as well. And we're here to thank the City Council for your support of the Cancer Association always. We couldn't do what we do every day without your support, and we managed to help a lot of patients. The good thing about the Cancer Association is that we help local patients. All the money that we raise stays here in Anderson County community. And one of the ways we do it is through events, which we have a lot, but our big one is the hot air balloon event. And I want to invite all of you to come out and enjoy our balloons and everything that'll be going on. And we have something to give you tonight. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the challenge coin process, but I have some challenge coins. So I would like to present, and the way you get a challenge coin, you have to shake my hand. Okay? So, and Marlene and Susan are going to give you a poster. So. Thank you. And these are special, by the way. Yes, secret handshake. Good to see you.
Mayor, thank you so much. Thank you. Tony, so good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support and all that you do in many, many areas.
Sweet.
Good to see you.
Susan Price, I'll speak on that in a second, but we really do appreciate you all.
Thanks, Susan. Luis Martinez.
It's very nice to meet you.
Likewise.
And I'll talk about that in just a second, but we really do appreciate that help us support from you all. Thank you.
Hey. Getting old.
So let me just share for a second about, maybe I'll take more than a second, about our Hot Air Affair, Rising Above Cancer. So we are really excited every year to host this event. And you can see that it goes over Labor Day and it goes over 4 days. So we need lots of people over those 4 days. So I am coordinator of volunteers this year. So I'd like to share with you about it, but also I'd like for you to kind of help me get some volunteers pulled in. If you know people in the community or other groups that might, like your schools or whatever may need some volunteer hours, I'm hitting them up too. So if you know people, share that with us, please. But it's a great event over that weekend. We have pilots that come in actually on Friday, and they come in and get to enjoy our community a little bit because they meet at the museum and we send them on a scavenger hunt. So you know all the great things we've got tucked away in Anderson and how long that's probably going to take them to find all those things. So they're familiar with our community because the good thing too is they have been coming quite a while. They love our community. They love what we support. They love the opportunity to focus on our cancer patients and survivors as well. So 5 o'clock, they're all going to show up at the balloon field across from the Civic Center, and it's going to be a great spectacle. Color's going to fill the sky, and if you haven't been, you know, please come, bring your families. It's a great family event. It's free. And so that night we're going to have balloons up, and if you haven't seen the balloon glow, you have got to come see it because it really is just magnificent color that just fills. We've got a lot of wonderful vendors this year, quite a variety of foods and, you know, other fun things, and you might be a great shopper, so there's lots of things there for you to buy, and think about Christmas upcoming. That's always a good thing too. And we've got lots of good food. So what's an event without lots of good food? So we've got vendors for all that as well. Saturday, we start early as well. Usually, you know, depending on the weather, we get the balloons up about 7. And at this time, the crowd really starts coming in from the community. And we'll have thousands of people there. And this year, one of the things I wanted to point out that we're doing that is new is we're going to have a survivor's tent. And we really think of them as the warriors. And would love to have you all come through and meet some of our survivors, meet some of our patients currently undergoing treatment. Would love to have you come out and just meet the people that are benefiting from the monies that are raised during this event. So some of the things that we do, if you may not be aware of it, is we help our patients with medications, with other treatments that they may need. If they don't have transportation in the community, we'll help them get there where they need to be. If there's a physician or service they need to see outside of the state, we'll help with that. We'll try to get them there. Some may need emotional support. Some may need nutritional support. Some may need prosthetics and other devices. We're here to do everything that we can to help them. So that's where the money goes for this event, is to help our patients with things like that. But the Survivor Tent is going to be very special. The first time we've done this, we will be continuing it, but it's really a great opportunity to come in and honor those that have fought really, really hard the battle of cancer. That evening, one of the special events for that evening is going to be a survivor walk. And so this will be a time for everyone to get out who has survived cancer, who is currently undergoing cancer treatment, to get out and walk. And, you know, walk in unison, walk in strength, you know, walk together. And they'll be awarded a medal, and they'll also get one of the coins that you all have received, just to show, you know, their strength. During this time, for the whole weekend, we've got a lot of activity. We've got live music, we've got dancing groups, we've got just all kinds of activity, you know, that your families would enjoy coming out and seeing, I'm sure. So all of this activity is going to go through Labor Day morning, and it'll start again, you know, really early, 7 o'clock, with the balloons going up at this time. Also, there's an opportunity, if you want to get with individual pilots and take a balloon ride yourself, you can do that. So we typically have balloon rides in the morning, in the afternoon, or, you know, early evening. You know, Friday would be evening, Monday would be morning, but the others would be morning and evening. So we would love to see you there, and none of this would even be possible if it wasn't for each of you and your support for what we do, for us as the Cancer Association of Anderson, and for our patients. And we, you know, very, very graciously thank you for all that you do for us.
Thank you, Susan. And again, we recognize the value of having the Cancer Association in our community. You've been in our community a long time. I think last year I came had one of my county council friends, Glenn Davis, called me up and said, "Hey, I need you to fill in for me at this Dunkin' booth." I said, oh, okay. Yeah, so I got dunked Saturday several times. But I
volunteered again?
no, probably. Yeah. But I think our fire department was there last year and they had a booth and so forth, so
Thank you so much.
it's very good. But thank you for the
Thank you.
information.
Thank
The minutes of our July 28th meeting were distributed. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes?
Make a motion, we approve the minutes.
First by Mr. Steele, second by Dr. Thompson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes of July 28th passed unanimously. We've got a couple items of old business. The first item is request second reading of the 10th supplemental bond ordinance 25-11, approving the financing of the improvements, extension, and enlargements of the water system of the city of Anderson through the borrowing by the city not to exceed $3,343,060 plus capitalization interest, if any, from the South Carolina State Drinking Water Revolving Loan Fund by agreement with the South Carolina Water Quality Revolving Fund Authority. Ms. McEwen.
So this is back to you on second reading, passed on first reading. This is the state revolving fund to finance the water line projects for Wellington Mills and the East Market Street area. So this is the financing needed for that, and you can see that council previously approved the application for this and also the contract to move forward with the construction project. We can go through the terms and whatnot again, or if you have any questions, maybe that might be the easiest way. We can take those. It is the annual debt service is $209,000 over a 20-year term, with payments starting in October 2026 at a rate of 2.3%.
Thank you. And we did have extensive conversations, good comments, I think. Mr. Harvin noted that we borrowed money at a very good interest rate, if I remember right. But any questions, any comments?
Mayor, I have a question, or two.
Yeah, Mayor Pro Tem, Mr. Roberts.
Yes. Approximately how many customers are affected by this improvement?
Mr. Baines, can you?
I have to work back with several in Wells and I'll have that place right hand and few less in the East Market.
Hundreds, perhaps?
Probably closer to 100 in Weldon and probably half that in East Market.
And secondly, I mean, obviously it's needed. I'm just curious how many customers are
That's a good
affected.
question.
Yeah, I'm looking at Wellington, the map now. I mean, you're definitely in the hundreds there for sure. And then the South Gossett Street, Lamper Street, Hayes Street, Jasper Street, Mitchell Street, it probably just look at the rooftops here, 50 to, 50 or so.
Mostly wrong properties.
So this is, of course, the project is to replace aging infrastructure that's having quality issues, or we're having to do continuous flushing in those areas during times for the water quality.
You know, we're borrowing for a 20-year period, 20-year term. And let's say within that 20 years, we find other projects that rise to the level of need. Do we have that capacity to move on those projects within that, before 20 years is up, we've got,
Oh, yeah,
capacity
absolutely.
to do other projects?
Yeah, so you want to layer your borrowing and utilities,
Yes.
and you want your customers to be paying for that asset over the life of the asset. And so in this case, even though the life of the asset will extend beyond 20 years, we do it out to 20 years at minimum, where we could have done it 10, 15 years, but you want to spread that out so your customer's paying for that asset over the period of time. And so that's the reasoning for that. So you layer your debt, and so we will have several other projects coming forward, and they will be funded this way. So They'll either be funded if we can through SRF, which is always an option we'll look at, and it will always be under the market rate of the interest rates. It comes down from the federal government to the state, and it's administered by the state. So an area, a utility our size this year, interest rate is 2.3%. If you're very rural water, you're at 1.8% this year, and they release the rates every year on that. And so we'll pursue that where we can, and where we can't pursue this, we'll pursue other financing, which would either be going to the market or bank place financing. And then you would be at your market rates for that. But tax exempt bond.
Sure, and really one final comment for everybody's knowledge that our water rates are funding this debt service.
Correct, yes. Water rates are funding the debt service.
Good points. Any other questions, comments?
Just
Ms. Stewart?
just one question. A lot of these over off the East Market Street area, a lot of the water meters are back behind houses and running up. Are these gonna be moved out to the street as well?
Yes.
Okay, just wanna make sure.
Good question. Any other questions? Ms. Hogan?
I'm good with that, Mayor. I'd make a motion to approve this.
First by Mr. Hogan,
Second.
second by Mr. Newton. Any further discussion? I thought where the Mayor Pro Tem was going is that we probably have a lot of aging infrastructure over the course of the square miles of the city and even outside of the city where we serve. So it'll be a challenge for the foreseeable future.
I'll see it, yes.
Good. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously on the second and final reading. Our next item is a request consideration of an ordinance to annex and zone 7.53 acres located at 3801 Clemson Boulevard to GC, General Commercial. Mr. McEwen?
This item was on your previous meeting agenda. It did pass for referral to go to the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission considered that, passed it unanimously for a recommendation for approval back to council. This is for the remaining portion of the shopping center at 3801 Clemson Boulevard. And you can see that in the map on the second page there, that half in, half out. This is in alignment with our annexation strategy to bring in pockets like this back into that are contiguous into the city. We're able to provide services in this area and are ready to do so. So this is to you on first reading, and I think I covered everything. If there's any questions, Mr. McKenzie can go over that for you.
Thank you, sir. Any additional comments or questions? I know we talked about it briefly before it went to the Planning Commission, but I'll open it up again.
Mayor, this is in my district. It makes a lot of sense. We already have the other half of the same parking lot and contiguous building in the city. I can't, as I mentioned last meeting, I can't imagine the difficulty in figuring out, are we gonna dispatch county or city services to, depending on where you are in the parking lot or which building along the same stretch. So I think this is gonna be beneficial for all parties involved. With that, I would move that we approve this on first reading.
First by Mr. Steele, second by Dr. Thompson. Any further discussion, guys? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes unanimously on the first reading. Our first item of new business is request consideration of appointments and reappointments to the accommodation tax, the A-Tax Advisory Committee. Mr. McEwen.
Okay, Mr. Strickland's going to handle this one for us. Mr. Strickland.
Thank you, Mr. McEwen. Mayor and council, what we have before you is reappointment and appointment for the Accommodations Tax Advisory Committee. As you recall, the state law requires that the city have a Accommodations Tax Committee, Advisory Committee, to help make allocations of the state's 2% accommodations tax. Really quickly, I'll give you a little bit of background on that, or a refresher, a reminder, because you only deal with this once a year, maybe. Most often once every 4 years. But the city receives its share of the 2% lodging hospitality tax. 65% of that money funds nonprofit tourism-related grants. That's what that advisory committee serves to allocate that money to. 30% goes to the CVB, and 5% remains with the city. The funds have to be spent on tourism-related activities such as promotions and event production. So a lot of what the committee hears and decides is related to a lot of events throughout the city. Soiree included, the hot air affair that you just heard about, they are accommodations tax recipients as well. So a very important committee, very important committee work. There are 3 expired terms that need to be filled. Those expired in December 2024. Current term held by Diane Sims for an arts and cultural position. She would like to be and is agreeable to be reappointed. Then there are 2 positions that need to be appointed and have new members appointed. The expired term held by Shelton Pace was a hospitality restaurant position. We've received application from Treywood Duffy, the manager at Groucho's, and staff recommends appointing him to that position. And then the third, an expired term held by John Doolittle, also a hospitality and restaurant position. Staff recommends that Kirk Watkins, the regional director for Up on the Roof, be appointed in that position. Happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Thank you. Any questions, any comments about the individuals to fill those terms? Ms. Roberts?
Do these have to be residents of the city of Anderson?
No, they can serve if their business is within the city in that position.
I was noticing resident addresses, Williamston and even Greer.
Yeah, that's right. Now, if they represent an entity that's within the city, they can serve on that committee.
And I would imagine the Up on the Roof rep represents all the Up on the Roofs? Is that regional director?
That's right. No, he's part owner, yeah. So
The
he's
part owner?
Yeah, all of the Up on the Roofs in the region are under his umbrella.
Good. Any other questions, comments?
Mayor, I think the names that are on here seem fit to serve, qualified to help us make good decisions, so I'll make a motion that we pass or approve.
First by Mr. Martinez,
Second.
second by Mr. Stewart. Any other questions, comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passed unanimously. Thank you. Our next item is somewhat similar, is request consideration of reappointments to the Planning Commission, the Board of Architecture Review, and the Board of Zoning and Appeals. Ms. McEwen?
Okay, thank you. Mr. Maurice McKenzie, Planning Development Director, will go over the recommendation to you on the reappointment.
Yes, thank you. Appointments to the Planning Commission, Board of Zoning Appeals, Board of Architectural Review, they're for 4-year terms, and each board and commission have staggered memberships. So coming before you tonight, we have several members of each board that has terms that are expiring. All of them wish to serve for another 4-year term. What I'll do is go over the names of the members with expiring terms that wish to be reappointed. On the Planning Commission, we have Marshall Pickens, Ron Sconyers, Bryce Nivens, Steve LaFever, and Carrie Ulrich. For the Board of Architectural Review, we have Bill Johnson, Billy Zion, Jill Helgeson, and Gia Townsley. And lastly, for the Board of Zoning Appeals, we have Glenn Roberts and Olin Bell. And again, these are members that are currently serving that wish to be reappointed for another 4-year term. We do have a few vacancies for other positions on every one of the boards and commissions, and we have been getting some applications coming into us lately to help fill those positions, hopefully. We are in the process of talking to each one of those potential members about the roles and responsibilities of each board and commission. So our plan is to come back to you at your next meeting with some board appointments. But again, coming to you tonight is consideration to reappoint these members that you see before you.
Thank you. On the 25th, if everything goes well, would we have all positions filled on these
It will be nice if we do.
commissions, or
Right now,
These-
I'm sorry, right now we have about 4 more, and there's about 6 positions that are still vacant. But again, we may be able to have some applications between now and then as well. We'll be real close, put it that
Gotcha.
way.
Thanks. Any other questions, comments?
Mr. Mayor?
Ms. Harvey?
Yeah, I just want to say how much we appreciate these citizens of our area and also business owners in our area wanting to get involved in our city government, from Planning Commission, the Board of Architectural Review, and the Board of Zoning and Appeals, and also the ATAX that we just recommended. I know it's a lot of volunteer hours that they have to put in, and sometimes their decisions may anger a neighbor or a friend, just like sitting up here does, and how much I appreciate each one of them willing to serve. And with that, I'd make a motion that we approve these as presented.
First by Mr. Harvey,
Second.
second by Mr. Stewart. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you. A third item of new business is request consideration of a change order for the Lindley Park Project Greenway Extension. Ms. McEwen?
We talked about this project in our budget overview as presented during the budget process and budget adoption. So it's within our capital improvement plan for this year. Mr. Strickland is handling the project management for this, and we'll go over this item for you.
Thank you, Mr. McEwen. Mayor and council, what you have before you is a request a change order for the Lindley Park project to increase the guaranteed maximum price for the entire project, to add in 0.4 mile greenway connection from the southern portion of the Lindley Park project at Malden Street south to the rec complex. We have a trail that was built as part of the rec complex that this would connect to, extend the length of the Whitner Creek Greenway. The total cost of that change order that we're bringing to you guys tonight for approval is $239,149.55. That's not the total price of the work. The total price of the work is a little bit over $580,000 total. However, we have realized some significant savings with the Lindley Park project in the realm of $342,000 approximately so far. So we are subtracting that amount from the total cost of the project, and that's why the change order is only $230,000. Again, very excited to get this started. This was originally part of the overall project. However, it needed some more permitting and more design, and so we removed it from the overall project with the intent all along to bring it back to you guys to add back in. So very excited to get that going. The contractor has committed to getting started on the work by the end of August. So here we are, middle of August, so in the next couple of weeks, he's going to mobilize if approved tonight. The work will only take about 2 months. However, we're going to have to wait on the bridge, it sounds like. We have one steel bridge about halfway down between Lee Street and Piedmont Avenue that we're going to have to wait a few months for. So hope to open the trail by the end of the year once that bridge is in place. So happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Questions, comments? Ms. Steele, then Mrs. Stewart.
I just would like to make a few comments about what a wonderful project Lindley Park has been so far. I am there regularly with my son. He loves playing on playground equipment. Every time we're there, it is packed. It doesn't matter if it's first thing in the morning, last thing in the evening. There are tons of kids and families out there on that playground, and there's tons of people going up and down that greenway space. Even though it's still working to be connected through the peanut about the north and south portions, you still see people running, walking their dogs, biking along that portion. So to me, this is a natural extension. I think it will be very well used when it's open, just as the rest of the park is very well used. I'm excited about this, a little bit selfishly, but not totally selfishly, because I've had tons of my neighbors come and talk to me about what a great project this has been, how it's been so wonderful for our neighborhood, and really our city as a whole, because you have people coming from all over the city and even outside the city to come and play and walk and run and use this park. So with that, I would make a motion we approve this. I think it's gonna be a great investment for our city.
First on the table, I have a second.
I'll second it.
Mr. Martinez, further discussion, Ms. Stewart?
Yeah, is this, extended greenway, is it gonna be lighted, it's gonna have lights on it or anything, or?
It will not have lights. That's kind of, if you've heard me discuss greenways and multi-use trails in the past, it's kind of, they're good options for, or good arguments for and good arguments against. We don't really, just because this is gonna go down behind some houses, we don't really wanna encourage people at night to go down the greenway and use this, in people's backyards in some cases. So really, we're not gonna include any lighting in this portion of the trail. It'll be a daylight only trail. But, in the future, if we get a big push of folks that wanna use it at night, and if the council wants to make that decision, we can do that. But no, this will not include any lighting.
Are there gonna be any poles, like, I'm just thinking like from a safety perspective, especially, when you're going through neighborhoods and stuff, is there any, accountability there, how do you know what's happening, and as you go down these trails, whether it's in the evening, night, or it could be in broad daylight, just kind of looking at it from a security standpoint, we continue to do trails throughout the city and meander through neighborhoods and things like that, so.
There will be wayfinding signage that's installed once this trail is opened up, or right before this trail is opened up. We also try to design these trails in a way that allows a user to see up ahead and see what's going on. It's a kind of a design paradigm that we use throughout the industry, really, when designing trails. And so the idea is not to put large shrubs or obstacles in people's way ahead that kind of makes it easy for somebody else to hide behind and jump out potentially. So no, certainly have those things in mind as we design.
How did we realize the $342,000 in savings? How did that come about?
Yeah, there were some allowances that were in the contract that didn't get fulfilled. Just having to do with some landscaping, some site grading that didn't need to be fulfilled just because soil ended up being better in some cases. So stuff like that.
So our total guaranteed max project now is $13,655,000. What was it? Are we still within what our original numbers that we had set out to be, or is this it?
No, our original projection before we removed the trail portion was over 13.8, if I recall correctly. So we're well under what we had originally assumed this project would cost.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Martinez?
Yeah, I think this is a good opportunity for us to recognize the fact that, we were able to save some money, but also we're being very intentional when it comes to our mobility. I think that's been a hot topic this year. I think Anderson remains committed to growing our mobility, and this is a good example of it. So regardless of the distance, I think a half a mile increases that overall trail, and I certainly think it's worth doing, and it's worth making that expense, especially based on the recognized savings we can mobilize while they're already out there. So I think it's a really good idea.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I would like to ask about future extensions. I think you said it stops at the recreation center, correct? The mini park.
I'll add in additionally, though, in the CIP for this year that we have, and we talked about this at the council retreat, we discussed it and actually came up with a better option, group thinking there, is we have in the improvement plan, capital improvement plan for this budget to design from the rec complex where it will now stop south and then connect to downtown, connect to Main Street. And so that's in there, and we'll be going out to put out procurement for contractors. I'm not contractors, engineers rather, for design, and then do the design of that. And that'll take a while doing the survey, design of that, and then we'll talk about where that fits in the CIP going forward in the next year.
I guess I was thinking in terms of, the closeness of the B. Thompson Parks. And if eventually that could be an extension, come from the Lindy Park at the rec center to cross over to Market Street where the Thompson Park starts. If that could eventually be some thought given to how we could have a trail that goes from Lindy Park all the way over to the Thompson Park and connect those somehow.
Yes, ma'am, that's always been our plan to do so, and, so we gotta get the next leg in, the next segment in first, and then we need to work through some logistics of, how do you get to the mill side and so forth, but yes, that's would be coming forward in the Greenway plan for this area at some point.
I was gonna say probably the biggest obstacle right now is just trying to figure out the mill site. We've talked about that in the past, and in regards to ownership, and we saw a vision from a developer. It just didn't happen to work out, but you know, I do think that that's probably something in the future. I mean, I think the mill site, that connectivity to the park, past the park, going on toward along Whitney Creek. That was a good comment.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments? I was going to say maybe on Mr. Stewart in regards to, will we have, like in Lindley Park, security cameras on poles, or could we?
That we certainly could, yeah.
I mean, that could be something that we could, I mean, we're not gonna have lighting, but at some point, if, just like we said, if something happens where we need lighting, or if we need security, but I agree, I think, on the northern part of Lindley Park, I think our guys are doing a good job of trimming back, some of the hedges on the, you know, that whole idea of somebody just jumping out at you early in the morning, that sight line, being able to see that sight line is a very good thing. So, anyway.
I was gonna ask, just to clarify, I think both you and Mr. Stewart have mentioned security. Are we talking about security from a camera standpoint? Because I'm thinking almost, you know how on a lot of college campuses they have the blue lights in the event of emergency, whether it's a medical emergency or something like that. Which one are we talking about? The visibility of security or the ability to ask for help?
I'm talking, I was referring to the visibility, like we have in our other parks, like whether it be Thompson, D.B. Walker, Greeley Park, you know, security like that, you know.
I'm not trying to add dollars to our budget, but I think it would be beneficial, just because a medical emergency could happen out there, and it could be tough to get out there, but wouldn't hurt to get a quote if we're gonna consider that.
Yeah, our plan was to run fiber down there anyways, so when you do that, you can have everything. I mean, the cameras, obviously the emergency boxes, it all. So, but that's certainly something we can put in.
Good deal, good discussion. Had a first and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously. Our next item is request consideration of purchase and installation of downtown holiday lights for Christmas season. Mr. McEwen.
Okay, I'm gonna turn this over to Mr. Strickland in just a second. I always say though, as we approach this time of year, it really becomes our starting of our busy point of the year for our downtown and Greater Anderson. As our college students start moving back in, we have out of town parents here. All that's ongoing this week. You see Clemson students in town as well, heavy concentration, and as they move in this week, we've already seen our population increase downtown as we've gotten past the summer, where we kind of see it as our slower period where you're out of school and people are traveling and you're at the beach maybe, or at the lake, or at other events. And so with that, it really kicks off a season for us economically with the fall and all the events, and it carries through the holidays. That's a big time for our merchants. It's a big time for our hospitality sector, our accommodation sector, and through the spring. And so this is one of those things I get excited about. Is we focused a lot on really taking it to another level, our experience of downtown during the holiday season. And that's been very noticeable. It's been noticeable in attendance. Of course, the investment from council last year into the real ice of the ice skating ring and upgrading that. That was a huge hit. The experience of the lights themselves, which we're going to talk about in this recommendation tonight, moving forward with, is something that's become noticeable and talked about. The uniqueness of downtown Anderson to that. And if you look to our peers, they just do not have the same level of decorations as we have, we've committed to. And so excited about entering this season. And with that, Mr. Strickland can go over the recommendation for holiday lights this year.
No, that was good. I don't have much more to add to that. Only the Christmas is coming, so we got a lot of work to do. No, really since 2020, we've tried to re-envision how we do Christmas lights throughout the city. You know, we started with downtown, and our goal was to add a new feature, add a new area every year as we move forward. And so, in that vein, last year we added Lindley Park. That was a big one to add. The year before we added North Main Commons as that came online. This year we plan to add City Hall. We're going to outline the roof line of City Hall with lights. We're also going to add Lindley Park, the new section of Lindley Park that just opened. We're going to add lights around the restrooms and pavilion there, and continue the garland light wrapping that we started at North Lindley South. So really cool, really very, very much looking forward to the season and the installation. I think it's going to be a huge hit. We've got a lot of opportunities in the future to expand our offerings throughout the city. As always, we also have to, unfortunately, replace some of our inventory through damage or just wear and tear. That stuff is out and on all the time during the Christmas season. So there is some lighting replacement that goes into this budget as well. But staff is asking for an approval of $125,800 to make this happen for Christmas 2025.
Thank you, sir.
Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, comments? Mayor Pro Tem and then Ms. Martinez.
Well, I had several questions, but these are additional lighting as well as upgrades or repairs of existing lighting.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
And this is a one-time expenditure?
That's right.
Okay. Are we in a contract agreement with this firm to continue for years, or is this
No,
year by year?
It's a year-to-year thing that we do with them. So if we're unhappy after this year and we want to make a change, we can do that. We shop this out to make sure we're getting good value. As you'd expect, there aren't a whole lot of folks that do this at this scale, so the pickings are slim. But no, we're responsible with it for sure.
One final comment. I think we have one of the prettiest downtowns, and this certainly enhances it.
Thank you. We'll do Ms. Martinez and Ms. Stewart and then you, Dr. Thompson.
Yeah, I'll just start with a quick question. So is this one of those situations, do we own the lights and we're paying for the services of them putting them back up?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
The vast majority of this contract, outside of the material that we've already bought, is labor.
Sure.
It's just time to get these lights up and wrapped. I mean, they have to start really end of October getting this done.
All right, the next question would be is will we have the same light scheme? I know that we have mostly traditional white lights on Main Street, and then it gets into some of the kind of what I'd call the festive colors, kind of there, kind of behind the school district near Carolina Wren Park. Do we keep that same light scheme, or do we have the opportunity if we wanted to go all white, or?
We have every year the option to kind of redo how we do that light scheme.
Okay.
What we've done in the past, like you mentioned, the side trees along Main Street are all white lights. We keep those up year round. The center median islands or the median trees end up being colored on Main Street. City Hall will be outlined in white lights. Carolina Wren Pavilion, like you mentioned, are colored lights outlined there. We figured that'd be, when we originally did that was a good spot to try colors just to jazz it up a little bit. Lindley Park has kept white light scheme,
Yeah.
and we'll continue that south as well.
Well, I trust the artists that they'll figure it out. I like the white a little bit better. I think it's a little classier, but I think the kids love the festive colors too. So I just want to double down on what people said. I mean, this is truly a hallmark type of town. When I have guests that come from Florida or from other places and they come in this season, it's just the entire downtown experience is truly one of a kind. So I'm all for it. I appreciate it and all the intentionality that goes into it.
Thank you.
Ms. Stewart?
Yeah, just a couple of questions. You know, again, piggyback on what everybody else has said, I think we do a great job. Our downtown is beautiful. Just a couple, I ain't gonna say concerns, but just kind of clarification. I know we're going down Main Street, but then we jump a little bit, go up to Lindley Park. As I travel through other cities during the holiday season, I see that, you know, we skip over the recreation department, which is a big thing. We're doing City Hall this year, but we're just skipping over it, going to Lindley Park. And nothing wrong, I think it's great, but then you're also getting into some neighborhoods. We have neighborhood parks like the B. Thompson Park or the D.B. Walker Park, which it wouldn't take a lot of money just to put some lights around some of the shelters there to like make those communities feel like in the Christmas spirit as well, instead of kind of like just focusing on what we're doing. And, you know, where it says Merry Christmas, you know, we jump up to Darwin Ride and other parks, but I just like to see some of our neighborhood parks. So like Greenville, you got Cleveland Park and other parks, they do their neighborhood parks, but we don't. But, so I just like to kind of see our neighborhood parks get some consideration as well.
That's an excellent point. No, the thought was originally to start with the key destinations like downtown, you know, people coming downtown for the holiday season. And then the main corridors into downtown, to extend that. So that's why Lindley Park was kind of brought into that as well. But no, that point's well taken. We could certainly explore that in the future.
Well, how do we skip the rec center as we come downtown?
Well, I mean, it's, again, you know, it's.
You know, outlining the building, you know, going from Lindley, skip, now you're downtown, you know, if you're looking for continuity there.
No,
you know,
we certainly could. It's not quite I mean, the reason we chose City Hall was just on Main Street.
Oh, I
right?
understand,
So
I understand
that's,
that.
you know, key civic building on Main Street. We can explore the rec center. We didn't choose it this year just because it's not the Christmas destination that Lindley Park is or that Main Street is. So no, certainly willing to explore that in the future. So.
Or even, you know, if we look, you know, if you're starting at City Hall and maybe go South Main a little bit up to Franklin Street, start there, because, you know, people come into Anderson and then you don't really hit it till you hit the Municipal Business Center going forward. But, you know, if you kind of extend another block up, that's something to consider in the future as well.
For sure. Well, and we started the NBC on the south side and stopped there, I guess, at the south, because we just don't have any streetscape beyond the NBC to put lights in. So we don't have any street trees. We don't have any structures to put that in. So
Good point.
it's kind of a hard stop there. But no, as we continue, like I said, the goal is to add features every year, and if there's something that makes sense, we're going to add that in. So no,
Good
that's
point.
a good point.
Dr. Thompson?
Well, I'm agreeing with a lot of said, particularly Councilman Stewart, like the parks, the neighborhood parks could be increased in the Christmas decorations. And I agree with Councilman Roberts, who said our downtown Christmas decoration is among the most beautiful in the area. I'm trying to think, if we have the music downtown, the music, the Christmas music.
So we
I
have.
know at one year we had a lot of Christmas music as you would ride down Main Street in your car and turn on the radio to certain stations, you picked up the music. I don't recall last year.
That's all at my house, Dr. Thompson.
Yeah. Whether or not we had
It's in my
that.
neighborhood, it's right up.
Because we had that last year, did we?
There was a time when the lights on Main Street were synced up to Christmas
Yeah.
music, and you could go to a station in your car and drive through Main Street
Yeah.
and listen to the music and watch the lights kind of dance to the music. And we don't do that anymore. The goal is to get folks to get out and walk around downtown also. Yeah, I think that functionality got lost.
I was probably about
Well
18,
before me.
19,
Well,
don't you think, Horton?
But it was neat, you know.
It was.
It was
It was
neat.
different. Good question. Ms. Horton?
I enjoyed listening to all the comments about it, and you know, I am aware that Main Street has year-round lighting. When would this start and when would it end? Does it have a date that, you know, a hard set date of when we would actually turn on the lights and when they would come down and schedule-wise?
Our goal every year is to have all the lights burning by Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And we generally don't turn them off and start taking them down until middle of January.
Yeah.
So it stays up through the full Christmas season and beyond.
And I don't remember, you already have a motion for this?
No, I don't.
Well, one other question I've had,
Yes,
just
ma'am.
with all the things going on the courthouse, all the, you know, big things.
Be
how
through
is-
in
how- yeah, how
30
is that-
days.
How is that gonna happen? How you gonna deal with that?
Mr. Burns, I talked to him
The
the other day.
courthouse,
I haven't heard the latest from the county on what their schedule is.
He said the end of the year,
Which
to
year?
me, this year. But,
so we're gonna decorate around that, I guess.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we approve this contract for $125,800 with the consideration we think about the other projects, neighborhood projects in the future.
Second.
first by Mr. Stewart, second by Dr. Thompson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously. The next item of new business is request consideration of a 3-year contract for ISRA software. Ms. McHugh?
Okay, this is part of our GIS, Geographic Information Systems, that's connected to a whole host of platforms that we have across the city. And beyond my knowledge, I do use it on a daily basis, but I asked Ashley Pruitt to come up here to present the recommendation for this to renew the contract with ESRI.
Hello. As Mr. McEwen stated, we use Esri software. It's a worldwide leader in GIS and mapping software. We have had GIS in some capacity at the city for over 20 years, but since 2016, we've had something called a Small Government Enterprise Agreement, and that allows us to expand the number of users who effectively can access information. And it goes anything from the zoning mapping, online web applications like our Soiree sort of interactive map, or transit mapping. And then as Mr. McEwen stated, it integrates into many systems in the city. So Anderson Connect, it's sort of the backbone of our See-Click-Fix system, our citizen application. We use it for OpenGov, for permitting and licensing. So anytime we have development, licensing, it sort of uses that mapping software as the foundation for knowing who's in the city, who's out of the city, if they're in certain zones, if they're in a floodplain, anything like that. And then we also use it for our work order management. So all of our asset management, cartograph relies on our GIS software. We have historically entered these 3-year agreements in a tier 1, and it's based on population. So historically, they've given us the 0 to 25,000 citizen rate. We kind of coasted through and got to stick with it as we got higher than that for the last few years, but this year we have to tier up to tier 2, which is for populations 25,000 to 50,000. And so we are seeking renewal. That tier does give us a little bit more, as is the expectation. As your city grows, you're going to have more staff, more field users. It allows us some more credits, which are kind of nebulous, but it allows us to kind of do more with our data, and it houses more online. So we can put out more applications, interactive maps, and it consumes these sort of credits that are included in this contract. So with that in mind, each year the prices are listed. This one tiers up over time. That's happening this year because we're going to a new tier. There's been a lot of pushback from us included, from local governments, basically saying making that jump in one fiscal year is hard for us, so they agreed to sort of tier it and step up to kind of the new price for tier 2 by the final year. So the total for the 3-year contract would be $112,200. And it is our recommendation that we renew it.
I'll also say, and give a shout out to Ashley, that this helps us so much too in emergency management operations. So Hurricane Helene, obviously the largest debris pickup the city of Anderson's probably ever done, completed. It was quite an operation, but we use this, and we use Cartograph, the backbone of that, for the work orders, but also through Ashley working in the background to design the routes, mini routes, and stay on top of it from a database standpoint, so that we had assignments for all our different crews that were here from other places as well that could use the same system, and maps ready to go for them. So we use this every day across all sectors, very heavily in utilities as well. Our utilities are located and within the GIS database, and so we use that on a daily basis through utilities as well.
Good, thank you, Mr. Pruitt. Any questions?
I have a few questions.
Mr. Martinez, then Mr. Steele, then Mr. Martinez.
In looking at this software, in the private map sector, you have multiple options. Like if you're downloading a map on your phone, you could do Apple Maps, Google Maps. Is ERSI the only provider for this kind of city-based map?
Yes, so there's kind of.
Okay.
They're like the Microsoft. I don't know to put it into. There are very sort of offline, limited tools you can get, sort of freeware, but not in the capacity of sort of protected server software with our databases, because we're an on-prem server. So we have our data protected that links into this software, and then through the enterprise, and where it's really grown is from not just sort of a computer and a license, but to the ability to publish out. So we can, no one does what they do in terms of having something. If I have data, like I met with the fire chief today, we're going to this First Due new system for incident response. We can push out in a secure way anything they want to know. Where are fire department connections? Where are all of our hydrants? And it's all the same information. It's coming from utilities to us, to them, and we can get external resources, so we can have stuff from the county that links in. The county uses Esri. I don't really know, to be honest, a government entity that doesn't use Esri.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, we're tiering up based on population.
Mm-hmm.
With that, as the city continues to grow, how will that be determined? Do they force us often into a higher plan? Do we choose a higher plan? And I guess looking at how often will we be looking at this scale up into the next one? Like by year 3, could we already be scaling up into the next tier, and should we be looking ahead at that, or can we even be looking ahead at that?
So they have some internal math that has been explained to me. So we actually started, we were on the cusp of 25 when we signed in 2016, and they give you a grace period, and I think for the 0 to 25,000, it was about 5,000. And there's some behind the scenes math, and they don't necessarily give you all their proprietary formulas, but so my assumption is for 50, you could get beyond it, and I would guess based on the way they operated to 25, it would be something like 60, maybe even 65. And they typically then have that price go up. So when we started, we were at 27,000, and that mirrored about our population. They let us stay through 2019 was the next one, and then through 2022, I think, and then 2022 to 2025. And it stayed the same. Typically, those 3 years would be the same price. They lock you into, so you don't have to have those fluctuations. This one is unique. It would be 42.2, except us and many others, I think, said, let's try again. What can you do? So they're letting us kind of tier up this time. So in theory, until we exceed 50,000 by a significant margin, it'll stay at that 42.2 with a max inflation between contracts of 4%, is what they have told us. So I think we could be here for another 10 years or more, just depending on how we grow and annex.
Great, thank you.
Ms. Martinez.
Yeah, I was just going to further, I always appreciate that the city always does a good job with their financial forecasting. So I'll just bring to everyone's attention that, we already budgeted for this. This was in our operating budget. When I look at the way that this is tiered, yes, we were kind of on the front side of this, but we are growing. I don't think we'll surpass the 50,000 in the next 3 years. So I feel good about the pricing. So thank you for negotiating some better pricing on that. But it's obviously, this software right here seems very essential to what we do here in the city in a lot of different facets. So with that, I'll make the motion that we approve.
First by Mr. Martinez,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Steele. Mr. Harvey?
Real quick, Mr. McEwen, so if I remember correctly, when we started down this software, you know, maybe, I guess 2016, and, you know, I heard she mentioned hydrants are on there, so help me understand this a little bit more. So if a guy gets in a fire truck and he's responding to my house, and let's hope he doesn't have to, but if he's responding, on his way there, he's gonna know where the hydrant is by the computer that he has. And I know that through the years, we've gone through layers of data that is in here that wasn't in there when we started. For instance, like cutoffs for our water system. Have we gotten that far? And, you know, I had hydrants down, water meters, cutoffs for the water service, stormwater drains, stormwater, is all that layering up now, or where are we at in?
Yes, absolutely. You exactly right. So first, on the fire response side, which they're actually switching to another software now that's even better, that rides off this software. So it rides off, this is the big data set, and then connects to the dispatch software they're essentially using. But as they get a call, it comes in, immediately connected to 911 center, and then from there, as a data set of where they respond to, the fire hydrants, flow capacity of that hydrant, and we're getting to the pre-planning of what type of building it is, where you would enter from, and a whole level a data set that keeps building on itself. On the utility side, which you mentioned, it gets into the detail of valves, where the cutoff valves, where our emergency valves, what's the level of service of that valve, because we have regulations on, we have to exercise certain valves per our regulations, so open, close the valves and whatnot. That also gets to an important point while we are not using open source software and we're using this type of secure database, is when you get into utilities, you do not want it out there and on the internet or be accessible where your valves are and where all our core infrastructure is. And so that's all secure within our own proprietary database.
And that was, you know, through the years, and I'm sure my fellow council members have also had this concern, you know, we had a lot of people in our utilities that had been here for a number of years, so they were very familiar. You could ask them, hey, on Whitehall Avenue, where's the cutoff? Oh, it's right up there past, you know, Frederick Street. And, you know, we were always like, well, we never had it written down where it was, and that's what always interested me. I guess that's been 10, 12 years ago that we started staggering this data that is now become, you know, you're gonna look at a computer and it's gonna tell you it's right there.
Yeah, and while helpful to have that person, of course, and that level of experience, and the same is in the electric business, and of course, my fellow city, that was that before. But you'll see, you know, Duke Energy, we have a storm, they bring in 20,000 workers from all over the country. They have no idea where anything is or how the current flows. They're going straight to the same software, and they're utilizing this, and it's showing them everything they need to do and where and what to work on. And same with our utility system.
With that, I just think it's awesome to layer as much knowledge in there in our proprietary system for our employees and for the service of our citizens to continue to just keep stacking that stuff in there. It would be beneficial, and that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Was that a motion?
I think we ought to have one, don't we?
I made one.
That's right, I got lost in the conversation. Good. Any other comments, questions? You know, I would say too, and I think Ms. Steele talked about, you know, it's so easy to think about picking up the phone and doing Google Maps. This is more than Google Maps. And we're on the COG board where, you know, the COG spent a lot of money years ago on GIS developers and requests for information and so forth. And now developers just, they got their own stuff. So, but I do think this is, the number of things that it picks up is important. When you say something about, you know, not letting, I think about ransomware all the time. You know, people get into your system and shutting down your system if they know too much information. Cool. Okay, we have first and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Passes unanimously. The last item of new business is request approval agreement with Broadway Water to build and collect sewer revenues from city sewer customers in the Broadway's water service area. Ms. McEwen?
Okay, yes, before I turn it over to Mr. Banks, our utilities director, just mention, kind of coming off conversation, I think we had a meeting or two ago about the water district and city limits and the sewer district, and we go well beyond our city limits in many different directions on water and sewer, and they're different. So in the case of being able to bill for that, sometimes it's challenging, and we face a challenge in this area that we have grown into the Broadway water district, and we continue to have development within that area. So while it's going from, you'll see 32 customers that we've had some difficulty collecting our sewer fees on, because we're having to send separate bill. So it's not on the water bill, it's not on a consolidated bill, it's a separate bill. And we're having growth in that area. It makes sense for continued collaboration to have a consolidated bill and the ability to collect. With that, Mr. Banks, talk with Broadway Water, and Mr. Banks, if you would go through that conversation and your recommendation tonight.
Thank you, Mr. McEwen. As he stated, we currently have 32 customers on city sewer system in Broadway Water's service territory. And currently, how it works is Broadway will send us the readings, and as he indicated, we bill that in-house. Unfortunately, since we don't own the water, we don't have a means of really enforcing that. So before you have an agreement where Broadway Water is willing to bill our sewer customers bi-monthly based on that water usage. Should the customer not pay the bill, the water will be cut off until payment is rendered. And they're willing to render this service for $4 per meter. This is also timely, as Mr. McEwen alluded to, where East River subdivision is currently under construction. There are 265 homes there. So we're just increasing the need for the ability to control that. Broadway Water Board has already approved their side of it, and staff is recommending approval as well.
And I will say, right now, we are paying, Mr. Banks, if I'm correct on this, my notes, $2 per account just to receive the reading. So we're already paying them $2 per account. However, we do have delinquent amounts right now from last year exceeding over $20,000. That would be from these 32 customers.
Correct.
And then we're at $3,100 as of this year. So added on to so at $23,000 now outstanding. So the only other way we'd have to be able to collect that amount is we have a means of set-off debt. And if you've been in government for a while, you've heard of that, but is we put a lien against our state income tax and try to collect that way. The problem with that is there's a lot of other government entities that do the same thing, and you end up on a lower tier. A lot of times when you're the utility, you're at the bottom tier on the collections on that. So sometimes it's a little successful, sometimes not. The best way is just to have a consolidated bill to do this. And Mr. Banks, if I understand correctly, did you mention to me they collected for the county at $4 as
Correct.
well?
Yes, sir, they do.
Okay, and that's where we got the idea from, is that so we paying them $2 now, just to get the readings, to bill, to not get paid, and not be able to enforce it. The county had an agreement with them at $4 to do the same agreement here, and that's where the $4 came from. And so now we'll be able to enforce it and collect the fees, because of course when you're not collecting, everybody else is paying their bill for them, and our other customers are. So that's our recommendation, is to move forward with that tonight.
Thank you. Ms. Stewart?
How much is the county in debt? If we're in debt $23,000, I'm sure they're not paying the county sewer bill either, are they?
The county has an agreement with Broadway, so theirs is being enforced. So that's where the cooperation recently came in, of talking to them, see if they would also do it for us. And so I know they also have outstanding customers though as well.
I noticed, on section 3.08 under compensation, it says this will be collected or paid bi-monthly. What is the or? This will be collected or paid bi-monthly, and then there's nothing in the contract that states that we're paying $4 a month. Where's
They
that
read
in this
it-
agreement?
It's per meter, but they read the meter every other month. So it really equates to $2 a month per household because, like I said, they're doing it bi-monthly. So they'll read it and bill, and then they'll collect and then turn that over to us at the end, in that time period.
Where does it say that we're paying them $4 a month in this agreement?
It
I don't
should,
see, I didn't see it anywhere in here, if you show me, other than what our summary said.
it's in there, let's see.
Just as compensation for services rendered to the city under this agreement, it should be entitled to per account bill. Don't say per $4 account bill, it just says per account bill.
Yeah,
There's
so-
no monetary.
Correct, so under section 308, we'll add $4 in there before we sign off on it.
I beg pardon?
So under section 308 on page 4,
Right.
it speaks to the compensation. It just doesn't put the $4 in there, so we'll put the $4 in there before we sign an agreement, because their board has already approved this, and so it's outstanding for us to, y'all's consideration to approve.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure that's what we're, didn't want them to come back with $6 and $8, because that had everything in there.
Good points. Any other questions, comments?
Remind me, that, the new subdivision that you referenced, the 200 plus homes, that will be on Broadway water with our sewer
Correct.
as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this will jump from 32 to 200?
297,
At some point in the near future.
yes, sir, at the time, yes, sir.
Ms.
Right.
Roberts?
Mayor, I think this makes perfect sense, and I make the motion that we enter into this agreement with Broadway Water.
Have first by the Mayor Pro Tem,
Second that.
second by Dr. Thompson. Any further comments, discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes unanimously.
One alibi to answer Mayor Pro Tem's question on the numbers in East Market. Thanks to the wonders of modern technology, I was able to pull up those contracts. It's 125 on East Market and on Welcome Mills, and 38 in East Market.
Good, we were close. Good deal. Good work tonight, guys, we did a lot. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. First by Mr. Steele, second by Mr. Newton.